Here at South by Southwest in Austin, Texas, about to do an interview for this amazing documentary called The Makings of Curtis Mayfield. We've got her that will be gracing us on the red carpet. Can't wait to interview her as well as some of the producers. So stay tuned.
Hi, how are you?
We're the same ethnicity. I'm Black and Filipino too.
No way!
We're
That's
sisters.
amazing.
You're like my twin sister.
Oh, that's
I'm
crazy.
so excited to
You're
see
so
you
beautiful.
here. You're beautiful.
Thank you.
How does it feel to be a part of this in the director position versus being an artist?
Yeah, I'm pinching myself. I'm like, this is crazy. My nickname is Director.
Oh, I love
So,
director.
yeah.
That's too good. You got to coin that now.
I know, right? So that's the vibe today. But I'm honestly, I don't think it's fully soaked in yet. I think when everybody gets to see the film, then it'll be real for me. But I'm just so grateful to be here. It's really fun.
And as far as any song you could perform of Curtis Mayfield's, what would it be?
That's a tough one.
Okay.
People Get Ready is a really great song. It's such a great message, and I think everybody would sing along if I sang that one. But Give Me Your Love is really fun from the Superfly soundtrack, and Dr. Dre and Snoop did their version of it. But I don't know. I think People Get Ready is the one.
I'm excited. I hope to see you performing this one day.
Oh,
This will
yeah,
be so
definitely.
exciting. So I'm here with Peter Afrim for the Makings of Curtis Mayfield. This is such an incredible project. I'm so excited to see you here at South by Southwest. I would love to know, as far as just learning anything new about Curtis in the process of making this, was there something you were like, wow, I had no idea that this was a part of his life?
The one thing I started talking about was the reggae. I knew there was some, because People Get Ready, One Love People Get Ready, is Curtis inspired by Bob, but I had no idea it went back to the early 60s and the Impressions and all that stuff, and that Bob, because Bob and the Wailers, Bob, Peter Tosh, Bunny Wailer were three-part harmony. Curtis and the Impressions were three-part harmony. But in the 60s, you had a lot of four-part harmonies. You think of Motown. It's you had the Supremes, that's three, but you had the Four Tops, or you had the Temps, or whoever, and those are multi-part harmonies. So I loved the impact he had. But then, after the Impressions, he makes this move into some of the greatest, because when I was a kid, I saw Curtis Mayfield perform, and the funk that he had with the percussion and the funk players was absolutely staggering. So to me, it was also getting the musicality and the guitar playing. I love guitar players. The first music doc I ever conceived of and produced was one called It Might Get Loud, which was Jimmy Page and...
My favorite.
That was
I actually met Jack White.
You did?
I was wearing a Zosa t-shirt.
Oh, how
and
funny.
it was the best moment. Huge Led Zeppelin fan. So wow.
I came up with the idea. I raised the money, like I did on this one, raised all the money independently, because I don't like to work with, I don't want anybody telling me what to do. So I raised all the money independently. So I raised all the money for that independently. And I wanted 3 generations of guitar players, right?
Yes.
Jimmy was my first choice because I love Jimmy Page. Everybody was like, get Eric Clapton. I'm like, Eric's everywhere. And then I knew about Jack, but my people around me were like, nobody knows who Jack White is. I said, but they will. And Jimmy loved Jack, so that was easy. Then it was the middle generation getting people, and the first guy I tried for was Prince, but that didn't happen. And then we were going to do maybe Eddie Van Halen, but he was about to go on the Van Halen tour. And then I thought about The Edge, because I'd worked with U2, and Jack was kind of like, U2. And I'm like, but his influence on the guitar is vast. And after that doc, Jack and The Edge became best buddies.
I was just literally talking about this documentary yesterday. Literally had a full-on conversation about this yesterday.
I love going back to Headley Grange and that the big room where Jimmy was performing with that drum sound that he got.
Oh my gosh.
And I just always been a big Jimmy fan, because I music supervised a movie called Godzilla and gotten him to do that with P. Diddy, or Puff Daddy, that song Come With Me.
Wow.
Because Puff Daddy said, I want to reunite an old rock band. I want to reunite Led Zeppelin. I'm like, drummer's dead. You can't do it. But then we got Jimmy. And I just love that. So for me, my whole thing is creative process. I don't play, I don't write, I don't sing. But the creative process to me is just a wonder. And Curtis's creative process, because he wrote all those songs. I mean, look, Marvin Gaye is incredible, right? Co-wrote. What's Going On is a co-write. Even though it's amazing, the Four Tops guy was traveling and saw some of the racial stuff going on and wrote a song and brought it to Marvin. Stevie Wonder's what can you say? He's in the clouds, just the most amazing kind of guy. But Curtis doesn't get the same kind of, I mean, Sly also. Sly's great, no question about Sly. You know, you can go, James Brown, I managed that estate for 15 years, so I made the doc in 2014 with Alex Gibney. I made the biopic, which was whatever it was, and then I made another doc series on him. But Curtis Mayfield is just, so the estate, when I reached out to them saying I want to make a doc, they were like, rights aren't available. I said, when are they going to be available? They said, the guys kind of do it, probably won't happen. They gave me a date of like April 20th. The morning of April 20th, I call the lawyer up and I'm like, I'm here, I'm ready to write a check. Not a big check, but you know, a check. Wasn't money that did it, and I'm passionate. Yep. So just the idea of then getting Gabby, which was like, and I had no idea about what a prodigy she is. I mean, I really didn't. I knew I'd seen her perform.
Spoke to Diane Warren recently about her.
Oh yeah, you talked to Diane. I know Diane.
Yeah.
You talked to Diane. It's like, it's just, she just picked stuff up, and in this filmmaking process, like she just picked up how to make a film. She was doing the interviews, and that was great. Then we get in the edit room, and she's going, no, I think we should do this. No, I would cut here. No, I would do that. And then we're mixing, and she's sitting in the mixing room going like, you know, I hear a little phase in the right channel that maybe we shouldn't be doing. And I'm like, wow. You know, and I brought in like a 4-time Academy Award-winning mixer, who's my friend Chris Jenkins, who had done, what did he do? He did Heat. He did Maximat Furioso. He did Last of the Mohicans.
Okay.
So he's done a few movies too.
I think he's seasoned.
He's seasoned. So I bring these seasoned people around Gabby, and my partner Sarah knows how to set up all these sessions, and we were very fortunate to kind of come up with people and locations, and we got everybody we wanted. And the whole point, the other thing I wanted to say is, everybody we got loves Curtis, and everything they say, there's no scripting. There was no meetings in advance. There were no questions sent to them. Here's what you're going to talk about. Here's what you're going to do. That was all spontaneous with every one of them. And they love, and you can just see like, they love Curtis, and it was pretty wild, actually.
Well, and you're bringing the right pieces together. Thank you so much, Peter. I'm
my
so
pleasure.
excited to see you
I hope I
here.
didn't talk too much, but
no,
I'm very enthusiastic.
You're just so talented. I mean, literally, all of the documentaries that you've done in the past, I'm a huge music aficionado, so thank you. Thank you for putting these together.
I'm trying to do it best I can. Curtis, I work a lot with musicians and doing stories of people that need to be sort of told, and Curtis Mayfield needs his flowers. He is one of the great songwriters, civil rights, funk, ballads, his voice, and after I talked to the estate and said I want to make a doc, and they said great, and I was watching, trying to figure out who to do it because I wanted to be music forward too. That's the other thing, I love music. I grew up with music, I've seen lots of shows, so I was watching Gabby, H.E.R, win the Academy Award, and I'd seen her perform, win the Academy Award for the Chicago Black Panther film, and she shouts out Curtis Mayfield, shouts out Sly, I think Marvin Gaye, Stevie Wonder, and Curtis Mayfield. I'm like, I wonder if she wants to direct. She's such a multi-talented, and she's a guitar player. And Curtis was such a great guitar player. So and the next day, the Deadline article, not to disrespect the Deadline, but just whatever article, whatever publication said, H.E.R wins the Academy Award and shouts out Stevie Wonder and Marvin Gaye. And I'm like, and that's the reason I want to make the Curtis Mayfield documentary. Underrepresented, kind of known. And so I reached out to Gabby's agent, who's a very close friend of mine, and she wanted to do it immediately. And I love working with younger talent, and because part of making these music documentaries, I've made several of them, is you work with a team, and it's a collective. I worked on features, and features you just kind of get lost. I mean, honestly, even if I did the James Brown film because I was managing the estate, and it's just, you got Mick Jagger, who I brought in, and all these other people, and you're just sort of lost in the process. But in documentaries, you're very hands-on. And I have a kind of a background, not just working with music, but also music and clearances and getting clips. And if you see this doc today, you're going to see a lot of clips, a lot of footage nobody's ever seen, a lot of music that nobody's heard, and multi-tracks, which, again, people don't typically get, but just to be able to use those relationships and sort of provide the sort of the track for Gabby to kind of go and let her be creative. Like, I want to use this, can I do it? Yes, you can. What about this one? Absolutely. What about this one? I don't know, but I'll get it for you. And then Gabby and I, we talk about looking at cuts and kind of saying, oh, maybe a little bit here, we should be a little bit more intentional here. Like, one of my big points of connection was, I love reggae music. Huge reggae fan, and Curtis was Bob Marley's muse. And so I wanted, and I stuck by my guns to have a section with Stephen Marley talking about how Curtis, how Bob was all Curtis, and the impressions were like the way they used to cover Curtis songs, and so I felt like that was really important to show. So trying to show things that people didn't know, which while obviously showing.
That's what I love about documentaries, because you can take a deep dive into
Yes.
an artist or into
Yes.
a period or into any kind of experience.
Right.
So I love that. Is that what draws you to them as well?
Is
Is that what draws you to them as well? Kind of go into the
Yes.
B-side. if you
Yes,
will.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. Like some of the songs that I'm really featuring, songs that I was like, oh my God, I never really thought about Seasons Change, or Billy Jack, and we have this great forensic sort of look at Seasons Change with Maxwell sitting with Gabby, because she's at the board, and they're bringing up stems, and Maxwell's just like, he's geeking out, like going, and at the end of it, he goes like, this is like Christmas. And so when you see that, like, because for me, I'm not as interested in like, okay, who Curtis's second wife, what happened with his kids, and how he met his first wife. And, we do a little bit of that. He was born in the church and stuff like that. But I'm more interested in the music. It's got to be, and some of the docs that I watch are not as much about music, and I want to know like how. When I'm watching a music doc, it's like, how much did I learn? And how much did I learn about the music? Like in H.E.R's doc, in Sly, I love the music stuff. When he's in the studio and they have that, they're working on everyday people in Durham. That to me is like, or Jimmy and Terry, Jimmy Jam, so I'm making a doc on. When they talk about how Rhythm Nation came about from that Sly sample, that to me is like, that's gold. So I wanted lots of that kind of.
Okay, so how satisfied are you with the final product?
This one, it's the most favorite project I've ever worked on. And I'm not even just saying that like everybody goes, this one's my favorite and the next one I'm so nervous about this because I'm so proud of it. And we spent so much time just intricately kind of looking, and Gabby and I carving and talking. So this is my proudest achievement, and I really hope it gets Curtis Mayfield out there so people start talking about it.
I knew about how much he wrote for other artists and how he was scoring all these films, but I didn't realize how, just how impactful those songs were when they were released, outside of the film, and how much attention he brought to the films because the music was so good. It was like the music lived great on its own. So that wasn't necessarily surprising to me, but I was very happy about that and very intrigued by that.
Sophie's Choice you here. What's your favorite Curtis Mayfield song and why?
Oh, that's a tough one. Every day is different because sometimes I want to hear, funky Freddie's Dead, and sometimes I want to hear We're a Winner because I want that uplifting message. I think Don't Worry If There's a Hell Below might be my favorite, just because the message is so different and left for that time, and it's a really dope song.